Hi, I'm Butter from freefincal, and let's take a look at SBI Focused Equity Fund this week. And this fund was called SBI Emerging Businesses since it was launched, and it became after the SEBI regulations. It became post May 2018 became categorized as a focused fund. So earlier it was SBI Emerging Businesses was a mid cap and small cap oriented fund, and since October 2004 to May 2018 it was a mid cap and small cap oriented fund, and since May 2018 it became a focused fund. That is, it's a multi cap fund. It can invest across sectors, across market cap, but the number of stocks in the portfolio can only be 30. There can only be 30 stocks. That's the definition of a focused fund. And the current AUM is about 5,726 crores. The expense ratio is 1% for the direct plan and about 2% for the regular plan. In this case, I have not shown the expense ratio history like other funds, but there's not significant jumps except for one maybe in the past. Now, the main reason for making this video is to point out that the past performance must be qualified by the type of fund and the portfolio history. Only if the portfolio history has been, the history has been similar, homogeneous, or the investment strategy similar throughout the history, can you look at past returns? Can you ask for 1 year return, 2 year returns, and so on? Because now, if you go to value research, there's a 5-star rating for the fund, and it just tells you it was earlier called SBI Businesses. And if you look at the past performance, and if you look at the last 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, and 10 year returns, the fund within the multi-cap category, value research does not have a focused category per se, although SEBI has a separate category. Multi-cap is a separate category for SEBI. Focused is a separate category, but value research considers them together, which in my opinion is a mistake, among other mistakes it commits. With respect to star rating, I mean. So, if you look at the peer rating or the rank in the category, the return rank, it is always in the top 10 for the last 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10 years. And then people will think it's a very consistent performer. But the point is that until May 2018, it was a different fund, and since then, it's only about a little bit more than a year that it has been a focused fund. And therefore, this 5-star rating is really not really valid, and therefore, we can't talk too much about the kind of performance that the fund has, how it has bet the benchmark, and so on. So that's evident if you look at the market cap history of the SBI Focused Equity Fund. Notice that this vertical line here is the changeover, and notice when it was SBI Emerging Businesses, the large cap, which is the blue segment here, which was very small, it was dominated by mid cap orange and gray, which is small cap. And after it became SBI Focus, notice that the large cap became progressively larger and larger. The mid cap reduced, the small cap reduced, and the others, the bond segment also, the cash segment also kind of increased. And what happened was, in this case, because the mid cap and small cap indices started falling down since January 2018, it worked well for this fund, and it was able to increase large cap allocation, and it was able to do well. In terms of returns, it did not fall as much, and so on. Therefore, the 5-star rating is really not justified, because the 5-star rating looks at the trailing 3-year and 5-year periods. There's no such history as a focused fund for SBI Focused Equity, at least. So, therefore, you should not take that too seriously. For the record, I've shown you the 3-year rolling returns. There are like 2,600 3-year data points in the blue line, which is the SBI Focused Fund, and the red line, which is the Nifty 50. Notice that this gap between the outperformance gap, which is consistently well, and that suddenly dropped down after it became, more or less after it became a focused fund, because of the large cap exposure and so on, a little bit of mid caps and small caps and so on, whatever it is. The point I want to make is that you can see that also here in the 5-year returns. The essential point I want to make is that the fund was different, I mean, in the past, and because it's a focused fund, the concentration risk will be higher. Of course, it can shift between large caps, mid caps, small caps, whatever, it can do all that. And especially, let's say tomorrow, if the mid caps and small cap segments start zooming up, this fund could have more of mid caps and small caps, and that can increase the risk for the investor. So please be aware of this. It is very difficult to justify the place of a focused fund in a mutual fund portfolio. I don't understand what is the need for focused funds at all. I mean, you have a well diversified multi cap fund like Parak or some other funds in the category, then the risk is lower there. You had stable returns. I mean, one would go for that. Why should one take excessive risk and lose peace of mind and sleep over a focused category? I just fail to understand. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, that went away. So if you are an existing investor, please be aware that the risk would have become higher now. Of course, you would have not perceived the risk because the fund had increased its large cap since May 2018. But once the mid cap, small caps starts to move up, the fund could become a lot more volatile, could become a lot more riskier. Therefore, please be aware of that. Please be aware that you are actually holding a different fund from SBI Emerging Businesses, and new investors, I think, should not use any kind of focused fund. Existing investors, you can take a call. If you're happy, you can continue until you're happy, and so on and so on. But that's just standard advice that I give every week. But I think there's really no need for a focused fund, and new investors should avoid that. So that's what I wanted to say this week. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. I can't answer all your questions immediately, but I'll do it as soon as I find the inclination to do that. Time I have. Bye bye.